Now it's that time of the decade, the best time of the decade. It's new Metal Gear game.
It's time for a new Hideo Kojima game.
Yes, well, the last Hideo Kojima game
last?
for Konami.
Yeah, I know. Is he pulling a Johnny Fineman this time? I don't think so.
Who knows? No, I think it's genuinely a thing. So the Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5, probably one of the longest games in development that we've seen. 5 years.
5 years straight after Peace Walker.
Yep.
This game went straight into development. You start off as Big Boss, or known as Venom Snake within this scenario. 9 years after the events of Ground Zeroes, and 11 years before the events of Metal Gear on the MSX.
Yes, so it basically finds its place in the universe very, very quickly. There's familiar faces for those who've played even Metal Gear Solid 3, Peace Walker, any of the previous ones. The hardest thing I think for some people coming into this is a lot of their experience is going to be with, say, Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4. Not that many people played Peace Walker.
Yes, and Ground Zeroes, people stayed away from that for some reason, even though it's very integral. This is a very pivotal point within this series where Big Boss does his antagonist turn.
Yes.
He goes from a lovable mercenary to a very menacing character.
But I think the big thing that's going to throw a lot of people is the management side of it. Now, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really, really great. Like diverting all the resources, researching the weapons and items and stuff that you want in order to make it a more kind of like a more robust army. Being able to play as different characters, stuff like that. It was all really, really good, but it might be a little bit intimidating for you coming in.
Yeah, so the sim management thing is something that came in during Peace Walker, and as we mentioned before, not many people played it. So going in thinking this is a traditional Metal Gear Solid experience is probably the first mistake you'll make. So you're going to be doing a lot more, breaking up most of the stealth gameplay and missions. You'll be going in, managing troops, researching certain things, and all that stuff in between.
Yeah, and so the actual game itself, like, it has a lot of the tenets that you expect. The stealth, a little bit of goofiness, but I guess the thing that it shares with Metal Gear Solid 4 as opposed to 3 is you can take an action path in this and still score decent scores, like pass the missions in a decent way. But because it's open world, it encourages you more to kind of experiment with the world. So, for example, lol spoiler, I had Quiet set up with a tranquilizer sniper. And so I'd fire and they'd all pay attention to me, and then I'd get her to trank him in the back of the head. Yeah. So I didn't have to trank a single person. She did it all, and then they're all asleep.
You can go all by yourself as well, or you can get other people in, such as Diamond Dog, who does a really good job at spotting people. So you can do a lot of reconnaissance before you strike. Very similar elements to stuff like Far Cry and Crysis, and I found that really, really good. It actually meshed with the rest of the game's
it doesn't feel out of place in the world, but I guess your enjoyment of the game is going to come down to what you expect out of a Metal Gear game. If you expect Metal Gear Solid 3, it is not Metal Gear Solid 3. It is very much not that. It lacks that kind of, the healing and all the stuff that we used to, the very narrative-driven kind of side of it. But if you want that kind of core Metal Gear experience for the new age, Phantom Pain is pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta say, it is one of the games that defines this generation. I cannot think of a bad thing about it. Definitely go out there and give it a try.
Except for Ocelot.